currently on hiatus, although I am coming back soon. And thank you for having me on the show.
No problem, man. Okay, so we're going to start with just simple talking about Twitch. Twitch is a. When did you got in here, dog? when did just simple talking about like what we noticed with it. What got you streaming?
Well, I wanted to do content creation for almost a decade. Like since I started watching Markiplier back when he had like less than a million for subscribers on YouTube, and I always wanted to get into that, but I never really figured out the technical stuff. Nor did I have the hardware to do recording and editing. And when Twitch, like I started finding out about that stuff, I s- and I started by watching people and being involved in communities and stuff. Eventually, when I had the money, I started, you know, picking up some hardware and I started streaming. Where it's going, it's a grind for sure, but it's not going bad at all.
Yeah, and how long have you been streaming for?
Think about a year now. It's either just before a year or a little over. I need to check. Because I've had a Twitch account for several years before I even started streaming because Twitch bought Curse, like the software that was used for the World of Warcraft add-ons. And to use World of Warcraft, I had to have Twitch to update them. So I can't tell accurately when I started streaming because it doesn't tell you on the account.
Here it looks like it says on Social Blade you got your numbers started at December of 2018.
Alright.
And it's just a steady growth. It looks like this almost.
Yeah, it's ups and downs.
Yeah, and
Especially considering recently there's been a hiatus due to illness and some personal stuff.
yeah, which out of respect we won't go into.
Hmm.
And it looks like you're hovering around, we'll just say roughly 310 followers. I don't know how
Right.
accurate Social Blade is right now.
It's pretty accurate, huh? Let me pull up mine. 311 currently.
Yeah, that's what's saying here, 311. So you're having pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
Uh, what can you say you've learned from Twitch? From doing Twitch for a little, almost 2 years now, that you could say you definitely helped you, but also hurt you.
One of the things that I've learned, that I had to learn the hard way at least a couple times, is that a lot of people are not who they seem to be or who they claim to be. Cause I've been bitten by snakes more than once now, and it's not that bad usually, but sometimes the way it happens kind of makes the collateral damage be worse than the actual snake. Because what do you do when someone who you thought was a close friend of yours, who's also a co-mod in a shared friend stream, pulls a snake move, right? It's a problem because you have a commitment to this person you're modding for and who's your friend. Um, but and at the same time you can't be hanging around this other person who try to use you or try to like backseat stream. Uh, the other thing I've learned is that a lot of these follow for follow lurk communities are, for lack of a better term, absolute dog shit, and the only people really getting any kind of success through those are the people leading those communities. Um, Especially like there's been one that I was a part of for a while until I realized what they were. I don't remember the name. It's been a while, but the only way to really have growth is to be involved, network with actual people. Don't try to like automate growth because it won't work. And if even if you have 14 viewers but your chat's dead, then it tells people something. Especially if someone just finds you through Twitch regularly and they come stop by your stream to check you out and they see 26 people but the chat is dead and you're not talking, it's obvious that something's there is inauthentic and it's gonna cost you in the long term. You gotta build your own community and you gotta be involved in other people's communities.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense because it's actually recently that follow for follow, host for host, lurk for lurk, all that is against Twitch TOS. And as you know, we gotta follow the almighty TOS.
Well, not all of us apparently, but that's something for later.
Oh, yeah. This will be more of a juiciness.
Juicy tidbit for later.
Yeah. And it's just kind of crazy to look at because eventually all that will just come back and bite you in the ass, to say the least.
I mean, it's already doing it. Like people think just because Twitch doesn't ban them for something, they should ban them. The viewers aren't stupid. Like people see stuff for what it is, and when there's no action taken, and the viewers see that there's no action taken, it kind of cheapens what authority Twitch has. Because if smaller streamers get banned for certain things, there's a million examples people can pull up to show that this exact thing was done by multiple other people and cause zero retaliation from Twitch.
Yeah, because everything gets shared on Facebook, Twitter, Discord. How 410 gets shared to MySpace, and people still use that. So it's going to be kind of.
MySpace is still a thing.
I think so.
Holy shit.
Is it?
I thought that fucking platform died like years ago.
It shows up. Yep, MySpace. Wow. But talking about that is, as I used to say on my old channel, streamers are basically the whores of the internet, and some take it more personal than others. But basically,
I think there's a saying that's like, uh, we're all hoes. It's just that the price varies. Because a person is like, if someone gives you $10 to like kill a random person you don't know, and it's 100% guarantee that no one will be able to trace it back to you. Like you don't even have to pull the trigger. You just press a button and someone dies. It's like no, absolutely not. All right, now what if that 10 is 10 million instead of $10? Now people start to have a pause. People start to think because everyone's willing to do something. It's just that the price varies. Everyone has a number.
yeah, true. That is a very true statement. Everyone has a number for everything. But sticking to the whole Twitch topic, you've been on the platform longer than I have, as a viewer.
Oh yeah, probably.
I've been on Twitch as a viewer for 3 years and as a streamer for 2. What have you noticed with Twitch over the span? How long you've been viewing it, like the changes and stuff? You've probably been around before Twitch got bought by Amazon.
Well, when I started using Twitch, like I said, it was purely for the launcher because I needed to update my WoW add-ons, and back then it was uh, little more, little more than like a knockoff YouTube. You've had people streaming, But back then, streaming wasn't really a thing because the YouTube bubble hasn't burst yet. So YouTube was the big thing that everyone was trying to do. Uh, and just kind of left it alone for a few years. When I came back, it was already about this big. I think I came back to Twitch around the time Fortnite was like blowing up, like it was just starting to become this big like sensation online. Um, and I didn't really notice too much of a differentiation between like the top streamers of a specific category. Like usually the top 10 are like 7 of them are YouTube content creators that had pre-existing communities, and then you have a few that are just like popular on Twitch who then move to YouTube. Which the higher you climb up the categories like ranking, you notice that pretty much everyone that has a significant community on Twitch also has a YouTube channel, even if that YouTube channel is exclusively just uploads of their VODs, because people, the reality of streaming is time zones matter, and if your main community is American or British or Canadian, that then like half of the world can't feasibly stream in hours that are gonna get them good numbers, just purely because my morning is like late night for most of my American friends. My evening is just like around noontime, and peak hours have proven to be around evening time for American viewers, which means that would be like very early morning for me, or even nighttime. So whenever you stream, you can only really ding a certain percentage of the people, and when you deploy yourself over to YouTube or even to like podcast.net or whatever, you're putting a more permanent source of your content out there that people can enjoy and then go check you out on the hours that you do go live. Because if you're only live on hours that people are sleeping on, then there's very little chance they're going to even discover you to begin with, even if you are potentially their favorite content creator in potential. So you have to do that. You at some point. I don't have a YouTube channel yet, but that's because I just don't know how to operate one. I'm waiting for my next paycheck so I can have all the artwork done and have a friend of mine who knows YouTube better than me kind of walk me through the paces and help me like start my shit up properly. Because that's what he does. He does like coaching sort of, like he helps people set up the software, the hardware. He's like teaches editing professionally. Um, but yeah, so over the long term, it doesn't really matter what category you stream. If you flock to the same category that 100 million other people are streaming in, then you're just one drop in a giant ocean of diluted content.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you stream stuff that no one's watching, then you're also not very likely to grab any audience. Like categories that have 10 viewers, usually those 10 viewers are divided between like two people who they know, who regularly stream like that retro game or that specific like sandbox game. You really gotta stream whatever you enjoy and whatever you can produce consistently without getting bored of or tired of, and just find your niche, and people will come eventually. Big things die off. Even Fortnite is slowly like dying off in viewership numbers. on the general term. You obviously have the big streamers that have like a loyal following, but just find your thing, and eventually people will discover you if you network the right way and if you kind of send out fishing lines and see what you can catch or fishing nets. I don't know the metaphor. I'm probably fucking it up,
You're
but
good.
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just just
Um,
put your traps out, and whatever you catch, you catch.
yeah, and with that being said, it's kind of goes on to my next topic. Going on, we probably pay attention to all the other platforms: Facebook Gaming, Mixer, Twitch. Hell, there's probably some out there I'm not thinking of right now. How do you feel about like these platforms growing, and do you think one day they'll overtake Twitch?
No, I don't think they will. I think that when Ninja left Twitch for Mixer, that caused this big, like, shake-up, this big, like, mass exodus of people to Mixer. Sorry,
You're fine, man.
of people to Mixer, thinking, "Oh shit, this untapped and undiscovered source of viewers and followers. I'll go check that shit out." But if you notice that, like, within a month, most people that left for Mixer came back to Twitch. Same thing with Facebook Gaming. A lot of people that go to Facebook Gaming already have a following either here or on Mixer. And like when Ninja left for Mixer and all that shit happened, it caused this big event, and everyone moved, and everyone said they were staying there because the system is more fair and the revenue divide is more fair. But a lot, like, the reality of it is you can't just uproot and start over in a brand new platform and expect to get back to where you were or outgrow it fast enough, unless you have a dedicated following that literally, like Ninja, left Twitch and went to Mixer. There
Yeah.
is no, there's no. It's the same thing with World of Warcraft, right? Every year, people see like a new MMO coming out or a new update that's a bad update, like the one right now isn't that good at all, and are like, "Oh, WoW's dead," or "Look at that game, that's the next WoW killer." But the fact is, WoW is nearing 20 years in age, and it's still running strong with millions of players. Like, every time a new platform pops up, every time a new streaming service pops up, people think, "Oh, this looks cool. This is gonna overthrow Twitch." When it's not going to, because unless Mixer manages to take half of the people from Twitch exclusively, exclusively, it's just never going to happen. Especially considering that most people who stream on Mixer now still stream on Twitch, either more or interchangeably.
Yeah.
And Facebook gaming is just such a joke. Like, what is it? It's like a failed attempt. Like, I haven't seen it really work. It's more like, "Oh, look, I'm a member of the Sea of Thieves Facebook group because I like playing with people. Oh, there's one guy in this group that's like going live with Sea of Thieves. What do I care? It's not an actual platform. It's just an extension that they tacked onto Facebook, trying to kind of capitalize on the whole streaming bubble thing. And it doesn't seem like the streaming bubble is gonna pop anytime soon because it's still very, very strongly on air, or like on the way up. But eventually, it's going to. I don't think it's ever going to pop and just go down. I think at some point it's just going to get up, get up, get up, and then flatline and maintain. It will fluctuate or whatever, but eventually, people are going to start like dying off and filtering out people who can't handle the grind, who want quick satisfaction or quick success without effort. People who put in lots of effort, but real life catches up to them. You know, people just can't handle streaming and full time and whatever people have in their life. Um, so no, Facebook gaming, at least how it is right now, is not a threat whatsoever. Mixer was for a while, but it was just a fluke caused by this big move that Mixer pulled with Ninja that pretty quickly subsided and didn't have the effect that they probably were hoping for. Um, I tried Mixer myself. The It's not very like setting up your page is not user friendly. You have to know HTML coding because to like set up your panels, you can't do just the toggle thing and then set up your panels like on Twitch. And you can't even upload like a picture for your profile picture just directly. You have to upload it somewhere and then use some HTML code to pull it to the thing. That alone is a deterrent to people who don't want to get like too technical. So it's not going to be. I, it's kind of like the Epic Games Store. They try to steal customers from Steam, but they have a platform that is lacking in features and like user access. So unless they get on the level with Twitch and give us stuff that Twitch doesn't, they're not going to get over Twitch. Just because Twitch has been around longer and it had more time, like monopolizing on like this type of content creation.
Yeah, and with that being said, it's kind of one of those things where time will only really tell. Because for all we know, we could be wrong, and tomorrow Mixer could take over Twitch. For all we know, but
I
they,
doubt that. I highly doubt that because Mixer belongs to Xbox, right?
yep, they belong to Microsoft,
Microsoft.
and Amazon owns Twitch now.
Yeah, and what's his name? The guy who owns Amazon.
Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, he's the richest man on the planet. I really doubt that he's gonna sell Twitch to Microsoft, especially considering how much money and exposure it gives him with all the big profile streamers and promotions. It's too good of a platform, and he has enough of the money to try and to like fend off any purchase attempts from Microsoft. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, and it brings on to my next point. People on Twitch, Mixer, Facebook Gaming, all that, making the same mistakes we have all made. We all have done follow for follow, host for host, stuff like that. And uh, when did you realize for sure that it all is going to just take proper growth? Like, for example, we'll use me for example. On my first page, up to 80 followers, I did follow for follow. I noticed I didn't grow properly with that, and it took forever to actually get my channel, my page noticed. When did you realize that to properly grow, you actually need to network, you need to be more engaging, you need a laundry list of stuff to really grow on Twitch?
Well, I, I noticed that follow for. I didn't start off with follow for follow. I started off trying to do it like just solo, just going live and hoping people will come by. After a while, when people did come by, I kind of talked to them and discovered these communities that they told me about. I figured, all right, cool. I'll join. I'll talk to people. I'll see what happens. And those were the follow for follow stuff. Except that I think like they messed up or something because very quickly I noticed that it's not follow for follow. It's follow, and very rarely do they actually follow you back. And even if they follow you back, a lot of the time they will unfollow you later to try and play some kind of ego game to make it look like they have more followers than they're following. Or even if they do follow you, they never stop by your stream, they don't lurk, they don't say hi. They followed you just for that follow. And it's very easy to see through. It's very like obvious. So I just kind of stopped following people. I still tried to participate in the lurk systems that some of them had. I would try to engage with some of the people from those lurk systems, but it felt very autonomous, very robotic, and just fake. And after a significant amount of time, I think it was like a month, where I tried like really committing to it, thinking like maybe if I really commit and go through the system, it will start bearing fruit. But it didn't, and I just left, and it didn't change my growth at all. I might have even started growing faster because it's like you notice like a lot of these communities are built around people being scared or being stupid, and if you're even just slightly smart or you don't care about having like weekdays or low viewer days, you notice really quickly that any kind of growth you've made since you've joined was your own, and that if these communities really produce the results that they claim to produce, a lot more people would already have partnered. A lot more people. But they don't because it's bullshit. It's fake and it doesn't work. Not only that, but as a direct result of these communities existing, Twitch is making it harder and harder to have actual growth because they just assume lurkers are fake, or they just assume raids are fake, or made up of people trying to give people raids to increase their viewership. So they added that bullshit in the URL where it has like a question mark referral raid, and it doesn't count views from raids until an hour after the raid if people stay. And you know that big raids usually disperse almost immediately. So because of these communities existing, Twitch is making it harder and harder to get any type of growth, even if it is your own, because there's so many countermeasures or just ways to just more hurdles to jump over, try to get growth, even if you are manufacturing it organically. If you are networking and you're making friends and you're talking to people, um, the whole thing about how lurking has to have the volume up, that's like recent. That's not always been like that. Sometimes you could just mute people, and as long as you were still on their page, it counted your view.
Yeah.
So these communities are actively causing damage to people's ability to make an honest growth on Twitch. They're shooting themselves in the knee.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about it because in the 2 years I've noticed with Twitch, it was a lot easier to get partnered. Communities were a lot better, and growth was actually easier
Yeah.
because I remember back on my old channel and even sometimes with this channel, when it first started, if you really put effort into it, you may get 15, 20, 25 people.
Hold on. Ah, no, no,
You're good, man. But with trying to remember the, but now it's like you have to know how to properly network. You have to know who to talk to. You have to play your cards right, because if you just go as simple as making one mistake, it can cost you your whole channel.
well, depends on what mistake you're talking about, because growth is harder just because Twitch is doing everything it can to make your views not count. So, but if you're talking mistakes about content you're putting out or just doing something that's bannable, that's different.
Yeah. Speaking of which, now this may make a lot of people mad. One thing I noticed on Twitch that is still a problem. I'm trying to figure out how to word this without causing people to be mad if they watch the video back on YouTube or as a VOD. As they're known as streamers. Now, when I'm saying this, there are some people who do this right, who do this properly. Streamers that like dance, shake their ass, or be like titty streamers.
Yeah.
That is, personally to me, that is wrong. But people who go and like make it where like every follow is like they do 10 push-ups, or every subscriber they do like 20 sit-ups. That is kind of, that's okay personally, because like, hey, it's an initiative. One, you're getting in shape, and two, you're actually trying to, you're making it unique. How do you feel about people that just basically use their bodies to try to gain popularity?
I don't care. I mean, I'll be open and honest. If I was a girl and I had the type of body that some of these popular streamers do, I would be flaunting it to all hell, dude. I would be wearing the skimpiest shit just because I'd be proud of how I look. And the fact of the world is, pretty people and attractive people have it easier in life. It's just a fact. People can claim it's not, but it is. It's just reality. And if people find a way to utilize how they look effectively and help them make a living out of content creation, all power to them. I respect the hustle. Like, if I could, I would. It's that simple. People who manage to do it, good. Fucking, thumbs up to you. I'm not personally impressed or, a big follow of these type of people, but it doesn't bother me. I even respect it. Like I said, people who hustle, people who find a way to use what they got and make it into success. A lot of people who are super salty, super angry about titty streamers are just people who think that they are stealing views or growth from them. But the reality of the matter is, any views or growth that you generate is due to your own content and merit. The type of people who follow and subscribe and donate to titty streamers probably aren't interested in the type of content that you create to begin with. They're not the type of people who would be your viewers anyway, and they're not stealing your success, you're just bad. Like, if you want more viewers, put yourself out there, tweet at people, like the tweets, talk to people, create contact, engage other streamers, off stream as well. Like, if there's a streamer that you like and you talk in their chat a lot, join their Discord, join their community, talk to people in those communities, make friends, show support. I'm not saying go and start spending money, subscribing to as many people as you can, or dropping bits everywhere. I did that myself because I thought maybe that would help me grow, and for a while it did. But that's very similar to the follow for follow situation. When I fell on hard times financially and couldn't do that anymore, a lot of the people that I was supporting stopped supporting me, and I was very clear that they were only supporting just to keep milking the cow type situation.
Yeah.
And you just if you don't have, and this another thing, regulars is what you want. It's always good to get more viewers, but what you want is a consistent regular viewership and community that are fans of you, regardless of the content you create. Because what if you streamed nothing but Fortnite for 2 years and now you want to kind of change things up and get creative, do some art? What if you want to do IRL streams all of a sudden? What if you want to play other games? And then half your community doesn't give a shit anymore because it's not the one game they like to look at. So, like, long story short, put yourself out there, uh, engage, network, talk to game companies, talk to game developers. They can give you free keys to play their game. They can give you stuff to give away that you don't have to then spend your money to give away. Talk to fucking um like I said, game devs. Talk to sponsors. Reach out to a lot of game companies or game shops out there like Humble Bundle will give you partnership and a big chunk of profit just for sending them an email reaching out for the partnership. So that covers that. And the second you have partners then that you can display, that makes other potential partners or headhunters see that and like, oh look, people wanted to partner and like sponsor this person, then maybe we should check them out too because they have something another company deemed good enough for them to put their name on. You can't just blame failure to grow or insuccess on other streamers because it's the titty streamers, and if it's not the titty streamers, it's the Fortnite Pro League, and if it's not the Fortnite Pro League, it's the Overwatch or the Tarkov or whatever the fuck's the big thing at the time. People like to throw blame a lot and pretend like their channel is failing because it's other people stealing their views, or it's other people who are doing stuff behind the scenes like buying viewers, and it's really not that. Like, the reason people aren't succeeding as fast as they want, and that's me too. I'm not claiming to be some big successful streamer. I have a hard time growing. Like, I only got to 310. I got to 300 very quickly, and then those 11 followers have happened over the course of like 2 3 months. That's like a follower a week at best, which is not good growth rate. But that's because I haven't been streaming a lot, and when I have been streaming, it hasn't been consistent hours. Like, there's a list of things that are the reason, and all of them are my fault. I can't go and be like, oh, she has giant tits and she has low cut cleavage, so that's why I don't get viewers. No, I like the reality is they have their viewers, and they will always have their viewers, and most than more than likely, their viewers are not the type of people that would have viewed you to begin with. Just get better, work on your work on your shit, work on your stream. Don't just click live and go live. You work on your stuff off stream. Make yourself like scenes and edits and transitions, fucking gifs and sound bits. Try to create an engaging background, whatever you can do. But don't try to throw the blame to other people, because especially if I stop by someone new stream, right? And I see them ranting about TV streamers for most of the stream, complaining how they don't get viewers. I'm probably not gonna stop by this guy's stream again because it's just bitter and neckbeardy, and it's not the type of vibe I want to be around.
Yeah, and with that being said, I get what you're saying, and I bring it up because everyone has different points of view on it. Some people say they're like the plague of Twitch. Other people say they're okay, like what you're saying. But one thing I noticed that's a problem on Twitch lately, and you'll probably agree with me on this if you've been checking out Twitch and people's channels and seeing this, these bots that go around promoting websites like FollowBot.
Yeah, every few months you're gonna have this wave of bots and trolls. It seems to happen like this huge wave, and then there's a purge, and they're all gone. And then a few months later, there's a new wave of bots, and once that shit's over, there's another purge. It's just a cycle. You just gotta ignore it, move on, ban them when they're on your stream, whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Um, Getting into some drama lately that have been happening on Twitch, Mixer, and all that. Now,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure if we could really say the name of these people, but how do you feel about people, and you know who I'm talking about, just play safe, we're not going to mention names. How do you feel about
Right.
people that go around and like complain to their viewers, like saying stuff like, "Hey, you can watch me and the stream is for free, but yet you can't donate. You can't use $5 to subscribe or donate."
It's not even the first time I've seen a streamer do that, but the most recent one, she stopped whatever she was doing in the stream at the moment and went to like the just chatting and just screamed at her chat that no one subscribed and no one donated money for over an hour. Like she was actually angry about it. Like she felt that entitled to people's money that she got mad when they didn't give it to her. And that tells me multiple things because it's not just that this happened this one time. You know that she had this thought before, and this time is just the time that it slipped out. And the worst part is if she reacts like this when it's only been 1 hour without a donor or sub, it means that her community is feeding her enough donations and subs that she's used to them coming in so often that you know she's just used to it, and she's learned to expect it from her fucking viewers. So now when she doesn't get it, she gets pissy and throws a tantrum like a diabetic kid who didn't get his candy. And we talked about titty streamers and stuff, and people like to point fingers at streamers like her, but she's not what I would call titty streamer. She specifically is trash. She's a trash person with a trash personality who should not and does not deserve the success that she has. Especially with how entitled she feels to her own community's money and time. You would think if you would treat anyone well, it would be your own community, but no. So that's the type of person that upsets me that they're successful because they don't deserve it. Meanwhile, you have people like friends of mine who are single parents who work full time and still manage to stream consistently and make good content and be cool with their community who aren't partnered or don't get donations more than like once a week, you know? And they're not successful yet this trash pile is.
Yeah.
So she doesn't deserve the money, she doesn't deserve the success, and I mean, it's not bannable. She didn't do anything that deserves a ban, but it definitely, hopefully, tells her community something about her, and hopefully, she will face financial backlash because of that behavior.
Well, I wouldn't want to wish that on anybody because
No, I don't mean she'll go homeless. I mean that she'll learn a lesson when her community sees that behavior and feels like, oh, so you demand my money. Well, fuck you. I'm not gonna give you the money. You know?
yeah, that I agree with, but it could have just been worded a little bit different. But
Financial backlash. Like she did something about money, and now her viewers are gonna not give her some. Like,
okay, I understand what you're saying now. I just misunderstood what you meant.
yeah.
Um, but talking about stuff like that is kind of tricky situation because I mean we have people who made obvious mistakes on Twitch, and luckily some of them haven't. Like Twitch understood. Like recently, there was two bots that came into my when I was streaming that came into my chat, and someone thought I was view botting and reported it to Twitch, and luckily they they checked my channel, so like, hey, it was just bots that came in. But some people are not that lucky. That's why I think it's kind of important to tell how it can really affect people because view botting, sub bot, I mean follow botting and stuff can really be a problem if you really don't pay attention to it and it gets out of hand, because I've seen channels go down overnight because someone rated them with bots and then report them. But
Yeah.
changing the subject, let's talk some gaming news. Have you
All
seen
right.
the PS5 and Xbox X series recently?
No, because I'm not a console gamer. I have a PS4 that is sitting in my closet right now because I don't have a monitor to plug it into. That I literally just bought so I could play God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm
Well,
not much of a console gamer.
if you look at the PS5, it looks like a head of a vacuum cleaner
Hold on, let me go there.
or a head of a robot from Star Wars.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's just kind of funny. Like, have you noticed, like, over the years, we're roughly around the same age, so we've seen the original Xbox, the 360, the One, the PlayStation 1 through 4. We've seen the way they look. Have you?
I'm 22, so I only remember like PlayStation 2 forward.
Oh, wow! Thank you
Yeah.
for making me feel old, my friend.
I just we didn't have money for gaming stuff before the PS2. So
Yeah.
I didn't even have a Game Boy like as a kid. I didn't play Pokemon until I was 16 because I couldn't find a like, no Game Boy, no nothing. The first Pokemon I played was Pokemon X and Y on the 3DS, on the 2DS. Sorry, the 2DS because I couldn't even afford the 3DS. It was this fucking slab-looking thing.
Oh, so you understand what I mean by some designs kind of make you question choices they made. So my question to you with this is, do you think they're going in the right path, continuing with consoles, or do you think they should go to more like what I'm trying to remember what Sega did and release games, not consoles?
What do you mean, like design-wise, like how it looks?
No, I'm talking about like more and more. The biggest games consoles right now are the Xbox and the PlayStations.
Yeah.
And there's company Sega couldn't keep up with the console war, so they started just releasing games for those. Do you think like other companies should follow suit, or do you, like Nintendo? Do you think Nintendo should, or do you think Nintendo should stick with the whole in the whole console war? Like, what's your opinion on the whole console thing in general?
I don't think Nintendo's in the console war to begin with. Because they're not trying to compete with PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. They're making their own separate line of handheld consoles and their own separate line of games. They're not they're not in the race at all because they're just not interested in competing in that race. They make enough money to just be their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
People who try to compare the Switch to like the PlayStation, I'm like, why? It's not the same thing. Xbox to PS4, yeah, I can understand, like, because it's both consoles. But Xbox is, I feel, a little obsolete just because any game on the Xbox is eventually also coming to PC. Just because that's how Microsoft works. So it's not worth the money you have to spend on a new Xbox every X amount of years when they come up with a new one because of how generations work with games. Because if I just bought a PS4 now and within a couple months PS5 came out, I'd be pissed. So with a PC, I can just upgrade the graphics card or just the processor or just the cooling system, and it's cheaper and you can
Mm-hmm.
continually update stuff. So I think PlayStation definitely needs to stay just because they make the best games and the best exclusives, and like Xbox might have this or that, but the fact is that Xbox, like the network I have on my computer right now, and anything that is on Xbox will also exist on PC at some point. Sometimes it's on both and it's crossplay.
Yeah.
And you can't compare consoles to PC either. So you have Nintendo with their stuff, you have PC, and then you have the two consoles. In reality, Xbox is growing more and more obsolete. People thought Stadia was gonna be a thing, but it seems to be very disappointing and lacking in features
Wait, has Stadia came
since
out yet?
launch. Yeah, Stadia came out when Shadowkeep came out for Destiny. Shadowkeep was like the first game for Stadia, like the first official launch for it.
Okay. I remember that now. It just took me a minute. Like, wait, what?
Yeah, yeah, and Stadia is turning out to just be a big like over promise, which I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, like it was pretty obvious it wasn't gonna live up to what they were promising with it. Um, so people call it the console war. If you enjoy Xbox, play Xbox. If you enjoy PlayStation, play that. If you enjoy a PC, play PC. I don't understand the whole thing about, oh, I'm choosing a console and I'm dying on this hill. Like, all right, have fun dying. I'm gonna play all three of them and have fun, and then get bored of one and play another. Like, it's not such a redundant war to have.
Yeah, I grew up on X. Like I said, I grew up on original consoles like the NES. I'm really showing my age now, but
Oh, so you are older than me.
I'm 23.
Wait, how are you just 1 year older than me and you played the NES? That's older than you.
My dad still had it from when he was a kid.
Oh, all right. See, that's the difference. All right, I'm looking here at the PS5 that you told me about, and I'm seeing two separate designs for it.
The one where it dips in is apparently supposed to be the official design.
I sent you the two designs. I think the top one is really nice looking. I think the weird dip in thing looks old. It's like an old design. Like the PS5 that's supposed to be official looks like the type of console that would have came out like GameCube days. Just the weird shape and the materials look really cheap. It looks plastic. It looks like cheap plastic. Like I'm looking at the picture now, like bigger and enhanced. It doesn't look good. And what is the entire top of it just cooling? Does that mean that everything important is just in the bottom layer? Why couldn't you just make it the bottom layer?
I don't know. But
Such a weird fucking design.
going on, we're going to go to the point of the podcast where we switch roles. You get to ask me questions. But before we do that,
Oh,
I need a buyout break, so I'm going to put on the BRB screen, and I'll be right back.
alright.
Okay, first saying hi, Chip. Hi, Chip. If you have any questions to ask, feel free to ask. But like I said before, we took the little break. This is a part where the roles switch, and you get to ask your questions that you would have.
Um, I'll be honest with you, I don't really have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Trying to think.
Well, I got a few more things to ask as you think of questions. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, and about what you asked, Chip, basically, this is a podcast where we're talking about Twitch related stuff, gaming news, all that stuff. And really, the big thing that I noticed with streaming in general is that it kind of became where anybody can really do it. But I've noticed a lot of people do it where they go from basically they jump into streaming thinking, oh, it's a quick way to make money. I could get famous overnight. But that rarely ever happens. Have you noticed that with like a lot of people you'll see jump onto Twitch and be, if you scroll down, where they spend like maybe $1,000, $2,000 on all the streaming stuff, and they try to make it look fancy, but yet they may be streaming to 1, 2 people if they're lucky.
Yeah. So, if you stream all the way down, I think there's a little bit of misguidedness in your argument because a lot of the time people have fancy gaming setups because it's just what they like and they want to make their setup look cool. I don't think people spend thousands of bucks just for the chance to stream before they streamed at all. I streamed for almost a year before I bought this setup. Um, and but I do agree that people think Twitch is an easy way to make money. And if you scroll all the way down, a lot of the time it's just a screen capture. There's no overlay. There's no mic. There's no camera. Or even if there is a camera, it's a cheap video camera, very bad quality. The person just sitting there, looking like resting bitch face bored, not talking. A lot of the time, they're not even paying attention to the chat. Like even if you say hey, and they think, oh, if I just play my video games like I usually do, people will start giving me money. One of the worst things I can imagine on Twitch is going to a channel that's like all the way down and it has like no views, and you go in and it doesn't have even like a profile picture, or even if it does, it's just a selfie or something, right? And you go and you check them out, and then you scroll down to the panels, and there's nothing. There's just one panel, and it's a link to their PayPal, like
Yeah.
donate. It's like the fuck I will, motherfucker. Make some content. Like you can. It's very obvious that they don't care about views, they don't care about viewers, they don't care about Twitch. They're just there to try and milk money. And it makes it look really, really bad when all they have in the panels is just a donate button and nothing else.
Yeah, and if you haven't already told people who are coming in, even though I'm more of a family-friendly streamer, I make my podcast more, as it says in the channel, mature, because I want people to feel natural. I want people to basically be themselves. I don't want them to try to be like, oh, you can't curse. It's like just be yourself. So if that's not your thing and you're waiting for me to go back to my usual content, I would do that later today. But right now, I'm trying to have just a good chat with my friend. But going on with that, it's my point of view. I noticed there's actually a lot of good streamers who aren't even noticed yet, who put their everything into it as well.
Yeah, and that's just bad luck, and that's just the reality of people who have better, like just either better luck or just know how to network and kind of milk the system better for exposure. Um, for example, GC, right?
Yeah.
A he got a free key to Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, the expansion, and just by reaching out to the developer, right? That's huge because I think that's super cool that he did that and that it was successful. He reached out to this huge developer. It's not like an indie game. This is a company that's well known. And he reached out and he got what he wanted and it was successful. And that's just an example of how you don't have to be this big, huge, successful like front page streamer to kind of try and reach out and push yourself out there and see what you can get exposure wise. And it was super cool to see that he succeeded in doing something like that. Very inspiring.
Yeah, and it's sticking with this point. It's like we all started from the bottom, whereas we started at zero, maybe one follower, and had maybe one viewer. And this question will be asked in a minute. Actually, it will be asked now. It's like, what tips can you give? Because I probably already asked it, but it's like along the different lines. Like, if you had the number one tip you could think of, what would it be?
Consistency. Just
Oh, really?
keep at it. I'm not talking consistently in stream at the same time all the time, never miss a day. That is important, don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is keep on the grind, right? Because it's like it's a cyclical thing. There's new people trying, like starting to try and stream every day. There's new people being successful every day, and every day you have streamers who quit, who are burnt out, who are too busy for streaming, who are tired of the grind, who just don't care about it anymore. And it's a mill that keeps churning out people inside it, right? And you just gotta be like consistent with your grind, because as people continue to kind of push through the sieve and people fall off, as long as you stay on, you're gonna keep going. And when people stop streaming, the people who watch them then look out and try to find other people to watch, right? So if you take 1 million people and line them up and tell them all to run for as long as they can, right? Then you have people falling off at every moment, and you don't have to have a meteoric rise to success. Streaming is a marathon, not a sprint. If you just keep at it, you will have growth, even if it's slow, even if it takes years. Ninja has been streaming for almost a decade before he blew up, you know? So just gotta keep at it, and eventually you'll have your growth, even if it's a slow one.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things where it's like we we've been at it for a good portion of time. We've made mistakes. We've had good moments. We had bad moments.
Yeah.
What are some of the, like, to finish up this podcast? Let's end on a high note. What are some of the best moments that happened to you streaming?
Mm. I think finding friends, like pretty much all of my friends today, I've either met through streaming, uh, or I met through communities I've joined because of streaming. And even if I don't watch the same people I did anymore, or I left some of these communities, a lot of those people I met in those ways, I'm still in regular contact with. And that's just one of the best byproducts of networking. If you reach out and you network, you will find people you get along with, people you like. And even after whatever business transaction you might have, you can keep in contact with these people, you can still remain friends. As an adult, it's more difficult to just walk up to a person on the street and be like, "Hey, you want to be friends?" That it's weird.
Yeah.
So it's one of the reasons that as you grow up, you have less and less friends. It's not because people just drift apart, even though that's part of it. It's because it's harder to make new friends, and Twitch has made it a lot easier to make new friends, especially for an introvert like me who doesn't like going outside too much, like other than, grocery shopping or work. I go out, I do what I need to do, and then I come back home. So Twitch and the peripheral stuff around it has really helped me get and keep friends.
Yeah, it's like we've met through GC.
Yeah,
And we really don't raid or play Destiny anymore together, but we're still pretty good friends.
yeah,
And obviously that's a good moment for me, but also one of the best moments, and I really don't talk about this too much, was when I was on my old channel before I even knew you guys. I was playing Minecraft being a kid-friendly streamer, and I got a whisper from a parent saying, "Hey, it's actually good to find a streamer that doesn't curse, that's very kid-friendly, that I know I could trust my kids to watch. It's moments like that that just makes someone's day because it's like, hey, I'm actually getting approval.
Yeah, that's a cool moment.
But we're going on an hour and 10 minutes, and it's getting to be a good point. So if you're watching this on YouTube or as a VOD and you want to check out MattBadlyPlays, I'll leave a link in the description. If you're on YouTube, he's a good guy. He's actually one hell of a Destiny player, that is for sure. And look at me being a kiss up.
Decent. I'm decent. I'm not that good.
He's better than me. I'll say that. And thank you for coming on to the podcast, man. It was really fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
So if you guys have enjoyed, please like it. Really, well, that's my YouTube thing. But if you guys have enjoyed, consider following. And I'll catch all you beautiful people later. Have a good one.